So Ajay, we just completed a huge piece of research together with Genpact where we reached out to 2,000 enterprises, really trying to understand this concept of enterprise debts. And what we found was that practically every large enterprise is buried under this mountain of enterprise debts.
Yeah.
You know, the process debt, data debt, obviously technology debt, and also talent debt. You know, and all of them are interrelated. It almost feels like a jigsaw puzzle. What's your one piece of advice, Ajay, on how should enterprise leaders tackle this and move forward?
Yeah. No, first of all, what you said, I think the finding is honestly no surprise because we see it every day, what organizations are dealing with and the decades of investments build up what has happened. So maybe I'll say two pieces. Number one, I think we talk about these 4 types of debts. To me, we shouldn't look at them in isolation because they are connected with each other, right? Because process, if you're trying to simplify, make your processes future ready, more AI ready, it requires the underlying technology, the data to get ready as well, right? And obviously the talent and people who are going to work around it. So you need to look at it as a continuum or the 4 pieces of the puzzle together. How do you address it? And many times I think there is approach, I'm going to solve for tech. That's actually a wrong approach. How do you look at this whole, holistic puzzle together? Second piece, I think the strategy, because it can be quite overwhelming, especially for large organization. I like to call it a dual velocity approach, right? One is, and we spoke about earlier during our discussion on the research findings as well, that how organization really need to think of building the capability muscle. Do I have the right foundation that my processes are not just addressing, I'm not addressing the needs for today, but do I have the right architecture in place for tomorrow? Do I have the right data foundation in place? The data that, regardless of the variety and the volume of data that aggregates over time, do I have the standardized data processes, the data models, the data engineering pipelines with the right level of tools or automation? So we set up for the foundation, which is a long haul. That's one velocity. Second velocity is what I call the quick wins, right? Where you look at the value pockets and you go after them, use case approach, right? Because that gives you the value quickly, right? That justifies the investments you can make and it can become a self-perpetuating investment. And it also creates a feedback loop. Are you doing the right thing? And that continues to feed back into your foundation track as well. So these are the 2 tracks. I call it dual velocity because if you go one or the other approach, it can backfire. Focusing only on some long-term strategy is not going to justify the investment you're making, and taking a use case centric approach doesn't lend the the capability that you need for the long haul, and you could actually end up accruing more debt. So those are the 2 pieces. Look at 4 parts as a single puzzle we need to solve for, and a dual velocity approach to go.
Ajay, that is fantastic. In fact, in our research, we found that there are about 6% enterprises out of the 2,000 that we reached out to who claim to have said they've solved a part of it. And the 2 things that we realized from the data, one, these 6%, they're not treating it as 4 different things, to your point. They're almost making it like a CEO and board level mandate, because you have to solve.
And that's the only way to go for it.
Because they're all interconnected, right? You can't really isolate one from the other. And the second one on your dual velocity is these 6% are focusing on the foundations a lot more than just solving for the operational pain. And then once you've solved for the foundation, then you go after the quick wins, and then you go after the high impact quick wins. So fantastic, Ajay. Thank you for the partnership and thank you for the insight.
Yeah, no, same here. Great partnership. Yeah, thank you.